What? Yeah. I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Pharaoh from Monte and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monte and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler and broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, straight out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board, as usual, Spidey. He's a little micless right now, guys, so there'll be no response from Spidey today. We want to tell you, he wants to say, Maria, First Lady of Wrestling, he loves you, he misses you, and he can't wait to speak to you next week. But right now, he is probably going to produce one of the greatest bands to ever hit the Long Island market. But first, let's talk a little wrestling news. As we know, we are a variety show. You notice I'm Pharaoh-less at the dais, but Pharaoh is on the stage as he's a guest tonight, and I am very excited. But we'll start off, guys, with WWE legend Kevin Nash. Disturbing remarks lead to a wellness check. Nash's son tragically died in October. WWE legend Kevin Nash disturbingly comments reflecting on the death of his son prompted a wellness check by Florida authorities on Wednesday. The sheriff's office confirmed with Fox News Digital on Thursday the deputies performed a wellness check. Nash told authorities he had no intention on the remarks he had made. First off, guys, I am glad that this is one example where social media is something that we need, right? I couldn't imagine anything worse being than losing a child. That, something like that is probably almost you can't recover from it. And I can only imagine no matter what you feel about Kevin Nash's political beliefs, or maybe you hated him as a wrestler, I don't know. But no man deserves that. And, I continually pray for Kevin Nash's health and his well-being. I got to give Sean Oliver some credit. Sean Oliver on the show was kind of taken aback when Nash made those comments. And you could see that Oliver has a relationship with Kevin Nash, and he was quite concerned for him. So, again, prayers for Kevin Nash. And hopefully he sticks by what he told the police. Guys, before we get to the main part of the show, Wisteria Hall, I wanted to speak about last Saturday. Last Saturday we had Enzo Amore in house, and then we had promoter agent Eric Sims in house. The conversation led to a discussion about Dan Marotti, right? And we all know the issues that we had with Dan, and unfortunately Dan passed away. A lot of people reached out to the show and weren't happy that we were discussing Marotti. The guy tragically passed away. I want to make a few things clear. All right. I think everyone knows at this point that I write the show, right, for Monte and the Pharaoh. and all the questions and the interviews are written up for me and Pharaoh. And first, I want to say my partner should have no responsibility to, like, especially when it comes to this, right? He gets a script, he reads it, and he stands by it no matter how he feels. So I want to make it clear that if you were offended by the Marathi comments, it totally lies on me. Now, when I mean comments, it was a conversation with Eric Sims about his loyalty to his wrestlers, right? His clientele. And I wanted to know where he stood when people go against his clients. And for the example, no matter how you feel about Tony Atlas was at one point a client of Eric Sims. And we wanted to know, where he stood there. The one thing I was disappointed in Sims about is Sims still walked the middle line. And, it's clear I'm a believer in you have to take sides. One of the best things that were ever said were when Money Inc. was in here and Ted DiBiase said, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. One of the great quotes I've ever heard in my entire life. In my 55 years of living, I was taken aback by that quote. I am a believer that no matter what it is, you take sides on a sports team, you take sides in politics, you take sides in religion, and you take sides in relationship, and that's the way it should be. Doesn't mean you should disrespect someone that doesn't or takes the other side. It just means you take a side. I also believe that people have a right to agree or disagree, and that was made clear to me all week by so many people out there, and I thank you for that. One, I believe, was you, JB2, and again, if I got this wrong, I apologize, right? But I love and respect that you came to us and clearly told us how you felt that we were disrespecting Dan Marathi. There's nothing wrong with that. The final point I want to make is I don't feel we were disrespecting Marathi. And the one person I think that got that, and I want to thank him for that, is Phil. Phil wrote and he said, hey, I want to thank you for keeping Dan's memory alive. And guys, that's what we're doing. No matter how you want to take it, we're trying to keep this guy who made a difference in so many people's lives alive, whether it be by making fun of him, giving him props, asking guest questions. This is what the show's about, okay? It's about lightness and entertaining. So Dan, again, was important. There's so many guys out there's levels of wrestling, I guess, and there's people that have made a difference in this industry. And Marathi is one of them. Eric Sims is one of them. And we want to keep Dan relevant with you guys because he meant so much to you. So I just wanted to get that clear. I want to say that I and Jimmy will never veer off our beliefs. We stand by them. We'll never bullshit anybody. And we appreciate whether you agree with us or disagree with us. We don't cry, right? We're all men, and this is what it's all about. Here's one thing we are empathetic about. The passing of Jay Briscoe, one half of the Briscoe brothers. Our prayers are with him and his family. I believe one of his daughters went in for surgery. She may have lost the ability to walk. Jay obviously has passed away. When you watch This Week in Wrestling this week, I think you'll see that Pharaoh got pretty emotional about the passing of Briscoe. And let's forget about the wrestling portion of it. This is a man who will no longer be able to see his children again, to be able to see his wife, to be able to see his brother. And again, no family. Kevin Nash, Briscoe, or anybody else that has lost someone that close should have to go through that. But here's an example of a gentleman that decided to take advantage of this. I was on Twitter the other day, and a guy named Paul D. Ciccio, I guess he felt this was really good timing to get 1 million views or 2 million views or whatever. He took it down now, but I just want to read what he had written right after the passing of Briscoe. Rest in Power is trending because of a white homophobic wrestler died in a car crash. So I think it's a great time to remind everybody that the phrase is reserved exclusively for people who died fighting systematic oppression. This is uncalled for. You could have your beliefs, you could have your rights to say what you want to say, but the one thing you shouldn't do is kick anybody while they're down and realize and show some empathy, no matter how you feel for them or about them. Have some human morality. Period. And that's one of our beliefs here at Monte and the Pharaoh. So usually at this point I will say to the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh, but Jimmy Pharaoh is on stage right now.
I'm over here!
Him and his partner, Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page. Hit that like and subscribe. Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Music. If you didn't know it, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, seen by over 3 million people through 2 channels. One, as we already know, has been canceled, and this is the new one, and thanks to you guys, we're back and flowing again. And if you're not a YouTube fan anymore, catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Catch us on the Monte and the Pharaoh Rumble page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, the Monte and the Pharaoh Twitch TV page. And if you're lucky enough to live in New York, where you'll see the reduced version of Wisteria Hall on channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Channel 20 at 6 a.m. We want to thank our sponsor, Manscaped. And that's not the only sponsor we have. It's just the newest sponsor. Again, guys, I'd like you to use the M&P code for 20% off. That's MANDP. Get 20% off and get something from Manscaped. In the meantime, show Manscaped that you love Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. I want to welcome at this time. This is an honor of me personally, because I'm a huge fan. This is an honor of the Monte and the Pharaoh show. I want to welcome the band, Wisteria Hall.
In my dreams, life the way it's supposed to be. Garden stones, all by myself, too heavy to roll. I'm left upon a shelf, and though she wasn't there, I swear I could smell her hair. Doesn't seem very fair to me. In my dreams, life the way it's supposed to be. Behind these gray walls I once called my home. Many remind me lately as I lay alone. I know I felt her near as I was lying here. For a moment I was free. In my dreams, life the way it's supposed to be. Why'd you leave me alone, all by myself, to carry the load you left upon the shelf. And though I couldn't see the way it was meant to be, was this fantasy for real? In my dreams, life the way it's supposed to be, life the way it's supposed to be, this life the way it's supposed to be.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Sir?
Ah.
Manscaped?
Uh-huh.
Have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped, what are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So
bit.
Manscaped is a must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to go do the deed on a woman, would you rather have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well-manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start, where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to wander into that.
That's very
Thought of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that
I
landing?
just I don't want, I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha. Oh, look what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it!
Have you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
absolutely.
You're like, whoa!
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
like
46,
it
of
pops
course.
out?
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's
through.
a trooper. He's a trooper. Got to give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Man, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
but with that,
Ron
we're going to take
Jeremy,
a quick
Batman.
commercial break, and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick. Commercial should get an award. I love it. I love it. Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, straight out of Ronkonkoma, New York. At the couch, on the couch, Wisteria Hall, Bart Griggs and Jimmy Pharaoh. Glad to have you guys. Guys, I'm personally a huge fan. And I've been looking forward to the show for a very, very long time. And finally, we got the commitment. And you know what? That first song, everybody loved it. It sounded great. The family loved it. Everybody, saying the sound was great, and they really enjoyed the song. Big fans of your band. You guys should be very happy.
It's always been the traditional closing song on this show.
Yeah.
It's very relevant.
Yeah.
When the credits pop up, I hope you guys aren't shutting it off. That's a very important
at the end credits?
Yeah.
Of course they don't. Are you kidding? Of course they don't.
They might.
Phil's jamming around the room when he's watching the closing credits? Absolutely. Maria's rocking.
All right, guys.
What do you got?
What is Wisteria Hall? What is...
You want me?
Well, I can start and then you can fill in.
Okay. Hit it.
It's a building at the Kings Park Psychiatric Center. Now, it's a very ironic. It's a beautiful sounding name, Wisteria Hall, flowery.
Yes.
But it did house the most insane of them all.
Yeah.
Now, who is insane in this group has nothing to do with it.
You sure?
But honestly,
Mikey's roasting me here. Help me out. Oh my God, I'm getting killed already. Go ahead, tell him. Keep going. You're doing good. Keep going.
No, the Kings Park. They've had many buildings for many different types of patients, and this particular one held the most violent and psychotic patients. And we've heard interviews with people who work there.
Right.
Jimmy has personally spoke to some people who
Right.
work there.
Right.
And we really felt it was a beautiful name with that ironic twist at the end.
Yeah, it's beautiful on the surface, but what lurks beneath? Wisteria Hall, the facility in general has some memories for me because a loved one that I was very close to did spend a very brief time over there. I've always found the place charming. It's abandoned, yet it still reeks of once upon a time there was a lot of life here. So again, I like the artistic name of it, Mike. That's pretty much it. Wisteria Hall. I think it sounds good. And
when you guys came up with the name, right? Was it this whole long conversation, or was it just like Wisteria Hall?
Well, oddly enough, and it's also based on Kings Park, there was a worker for many years there named King Peddler. And I think I told you this story. And I liked the name King Peddler. I thought it was like ironic, a king and a peddler. I thought it was kind of cool. So we actually gave the man respect. He's still alive, I believe. He's very old at this point, but hey, he's made it this far. And I had asked him, do you mind if we use King Peddler? And he was like, no, it's okay. The next day, Mike, he calls me, I don't know about this. You know what I mean? Like, he got nervous that we were going to use his name for a bit. Nobody.
By the way, I like that name. That's a really
Isn't
cool
it a
name.
cool name?
Very
But nobody
cool
would have known. You know what I mean?
Right.
But out of respect for the fact that I showed him respect. He wasn't comfortable with it, and I thought to myself, well, hey, Wisteria Hall is my favorite personal building to go to over there. It's the name of a flower. Yet look what was housed underneath the petals, the flower petals.
Right.
I found it a good name. So basically we went with that.
And most importantly, when you try to get a name, there's always some
copyright, trademark. You come up with a
using
great name, someone's got it.
So this one was free and clear.
Yes.
I mean, there's a Wisteria Hall like florist
Right.
that has nothing to do with
Want to get
what
some
we do.
flowers?
All right. Now I think I spoke with Pharaoh about this maybe a couple of weeks ago on air because it just hit me weird. First of all, again, I've always loved the name Wisteria Hall, and I actually love the logo.
Yeah.
But it has to be explained to me why there's a snake in the Wisteria Hall logo. Why put a snake in there?
Well, first I want to say that Jimmy came up with the name Wisteria Hall, based on his many experiences there, and I just loved it. It just rang and it was nice and slick. The snake goes back to when we were first conceptualizing our music. In fact, the first CD we did with Eddie Kramer was called Indivisible, which is very, patriotic.
There was a lot of stuff going on back during 2016.
like if you look at my necklace, it has a little "Don't Tread on Me" snake.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean anything for political people.
No.
If you're going to go in that direction.
Nope.
It just means actually hanging tough, staying together, whether it's us or people in general.
Or you could actually just give me the real answer, and you were looking for something to make a cool S, so you found a snake.
He always thinks that because there's an S in Wisteria Hall.
Yes.
Mike's like, well, that's why you must have come up with a snake. I mean, after
wanted
all,
a snake and
kangaroo
you
would
threw
look
it in
ridiculous
after
as
this.
an S.
That was
So
just
you're right about that. You got us on that one.
Yeah, it
Actually, what I
works.
love the most about a snake is a snake sheds its skin but remains the
A
same.
few questions out there, guys. Little Patty wants to know, Jimmy
Patty.
and Bart, how long have you guys been making music?
Oh, man. Okay, I can actually nail this. Do you know what year it was? Because it was 2006 where we started to begin the ideas of...
Days, yes.
Yeah.
Me and Jimmy, I must say this, but I don't want to bore anybody, but it's true. We go back 100 years.
That's true.
And
No,
we've
over
always-
30.
And it was
Right.
always some off and on playing, whether we were at a park with a guitar or something, or at a bar. He would come up and join me. He had his own thing. However, when we started to record, Jimmy came in and just started laying down some tracks with me, and it was just like a natural thing. And it just, I think it was like, what do you always say? Like eggs and bacon?
Well, it's
Whatever.
organic. I mean,
Yeah.
we just happen to have a good fit for each other. But the funniest part, Mike, is that he didn't have a drummer, and he had a show. What was it, like 3 days
Yeah,
later?
this is funny. He didn't really play the drums that
I
much.
never played.
And
I was a
said-
vocalist. You know that for many
so,
years.
so
you
our
know-
drummer canceled out on us. I'm like, Jimmy, do you think you could play the drums? Like, we gave him 3 days' notice, and the guy pulled it off. In fact, there were people coming up to him saying, "Hey, I really like your drums."
How long you been playing? And
Well,
I was like, a
playing,
week.
like-
If I could tell a quick
Now?
story, I hadn't seen Jimmy in a little while, and there used to be this like park where all the drug addicts would go hang out. But the one cool thing about the drug addict park was they had and I mean drug addict, kidding around, all the
I know
potheads.
what you mean, boy.
Right.
The boys
But
chilling
the
out.
one thing
beers
about the
and dudes.
pothead park was, hey, there was always some hot chicks there, and
Oh, yeah.
Monte's all about the chicks. So
Yeah.
I used to go down there, and I remember it was raining, so everybody bolted from the park, and they all going to this house, and I said, fuck it, the girls are going there, I'm going there too. So this dude's like trying to impress the chick, and he's drumming, and I didn't know if Jimmy could drum or not, but Jimmy, I think I might even said, Jimmy, get on
You
the drums.
volunteered it. You actually instigated
And you
a contest between me and a guy
Yeah,
who
and
actually was
you
a
tore,
drummer.
You tore him up. You
Yeah,
tore
I did.
him
but
up.
You know, Mike, I cheated though.
believe it.
Here's the cheat though, Mike. You know what I did? I played the drum solo from God of Thunder, Kiss Alive 2.
Nice.
I used Peter Criss. I was like, well, I think I got the basics. I think it goes like this.
Right.
And that was pretty much it.
JB2 says Eddie produced Hendrix and did the sound at Woodstock plus numerous other huge things in music. So tell the people out there your involvement with Eddie Kramer.
Well, what happened was we were looking to really just get, I don't want to call it classic rock, but hey, there's roots.
That's-
we wanted to
that's
find
fair.
who is the preeminent guy that's
who-
done the Kiss.
Who is the man of classic
Hendrix,
rock? Stones,
Zeppelin.
Beatles.
So,
He did All You
yeah.
Need Is Love.
So we shot out an email to his place, and they promptly ignored it.
Right.
And then,
As
you
they
know,
should.
a little persistence. We sent
A
sample,
little?
a lot.
How about
you
a
know.
year's worth?
So we sent.
I
it.
swear, Mike, a year's worth of continuing to stay in touch. Was it
He's
Amanda?
Yeah,
Amanda was the secretary, wasn't
That's
she?
right. And
Yeah,
so then,
that's right.
He says this crack. He's like, oh, I heard you guys did. It's pretty good, but you could really use a producer. I'm
Yeah.
like, no shit, dude.
That's why we
we're on the
contacted.
phone with you.
That's
The best.
right. Yeah.
And then we kind of didn't hear from him for a while, but me and Jimmy had this discussion. We're like, all right,
One
We
more
called up
try.
other-
We were
called
about
up-
to stop.
and we did call
One more
other
try.
people.
Yes, Jack Douglas from Aerosmith.
But
Also, Steve Thompson from the Eagles? Is that the right one?
Right.
Or was it another fella? Anyway, we were
Ted
trying other
Jensen,
times. Ted Jensen,
the,
right. Steve Thompson was from
master.
Guns N' Roses. I knew him too.
So long story
Right.
short, we did follow up, and finally he's like, well, I said, please, we have it ready. We want him on the calendar. So he put us on the calendar.
Put us on the calendar.
And then
After a year.
And as he spoke to us, he was like, oh, our greatest friend. And we had these messages, and him and Jimmy hit it off right away.
Yeah. Yeah. He was magnificent. He was everything that his resume says he is. You knew right away that you were working with a legend. You knew right away. And I wanted to ask him, what is it that makes you get your end product? And he just told me fairy dust. He was very proud of his capabilities, but he certainly, like the magician who doesn't tell the trick.
Right.
He was absolutely amazing. And the greatest moment of the whole process, which was only about 30 days with Eddie. I almost feel like making a film or 30 Days with Eddie, because that's what it was. 30 days of a lot of work, doing 10 tracks for the debut record. And my favorite part was when we did In My Dreams, where he said, this is a hit. And he did reflect on wishing that it had been the 70s, the 1970s, because he felt that song would have been absolutely,
Yeah, no, he was right. He wasn't.
It was great working with
and
him.
it should note, as Jimmy says this, he's not one to blow smoke.
No, he's not
In
giving
fact,
compliments out easy.
Right, he's not going to just
Nope.
be like, "Oh, everything you guys did
Nope.
was great."
Nope.
But that's not
Yep.
anything but the truth. So when he was complimenting, it was sort of like,
It was nice.
wow,
It's nice to
was
hear
great.
that. It's like Hulk Hogan telling you, you lock up well, Mike. You know what I mean?
I got to tell you, I think I told you guys that back in the day when I used an iPod, to put your music on my iPod
Yeah.
because you guys were iPod worthy, and that to me
Thank
that was a serious thing.
Thank
Like
you.
I didn't put shit music on my iPod, right? Because I was working out. I wanted to listen to good music that I was
Right.
going to enjoy, and not have to skip past shit like when you were growing up and you had a Discman and you liked song 1, and then you had to get past song 2 through 8 to get to
Right.
song 9,
And
right?
if you had a cassette, that took even longer.
So look, you know,
Am I
in the
old?
beginning of the show, I talked about the loss of Briscoe, right?
Yeah.
And you know, again, I've been listening to all the tributes that have
Man,
been
I
going
love
on
Jay.
for this
I
man.
love Jay Briscoe, man. Oh.
But here was the thing: I was listening to a lot of grown men cry on air, just like fans breaking down and crying, and I kept saying to myself, like, man. And I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but I was thinking to myself, God, I just can't see myself crying. Like, you know, upset, yeah. You know what I mean? Moved, yes. But crying for someone, like, I could cry for children that are starving
Oh, of
in
course.
Africa.
We all
or
can.
starving
I
here.
got that.
Or animals that are being tortured.
Oh,
But
for sure.
I just, again, I've idolized, not idolized, I hate using that word, but, you know,
Looked up
mentors.
Looked up
But
to.
my question to both of you is this. Have you ever cried for someone other than a friend or family member? And if you did, who?
You mean in the entertainment industry or movie star?
Celebrities
or
or
just
anybody
Celebrities.
outside your inner circle of family and friends.
I think I did, and I know I have, and I think sometimes it's even reflected upon yourself. Like it's just like you remember times that bring, you know, how music and people bring you back to a certain time, and when they're gone, it's a part of your childhood. And then sometimes you just remember like seeing them when they were in their prime, and all of a sudden they're like, you know, dying, and like I guess David Crosby died today, and that's some memories for everybody. And everybody says, gee, he lived a hard life. But you remember him back in the day, if you were our age and even older, he was just, you know, an icon. When
He's
he
a
was
legend.
an icon, sometimes you get a lump in your throat. It just makes you feel like, wow, life. You know, who's next?
I cried like an absolute sissy when John Lennon was murdered. But I was only 12 years old, I think, going on 13. Maybe I was 13, but I cried horrendously when John Lennon was murdered. Thurman Munson, when his plane crashed, he was my favorite ball player. I was only 12. Boy, they died within a year of each other almost. Lennon and Munson, not in that order. But I'm trying to think though, is a full-grown adult, like not as a kid?
Stingers. I believe Stingers is saying he cried when Ultimate Warrior died.
I can see that.
Lil Patty said he cried when Roddy Piper died.
I can see that. I can easily see that. I'm trying to think of any wrestler whose death broke me up or flipped me out. Now, listen, when New Jack passed, Mike, I was pretty freaked.
You were devastated.
I was pretty damn freaked.
I don't remember
by
you crying, no.
No, I don't think I did, but I think I privately came close. Like I was talking to him, you know, so he obviously meant something to me, you know. Mike, remember this. You know how you always say, if we even made one person enjoy what we do, right?
Right.
It was all worth it. When Jay Briscoe did what he did, he made so many people happy. And like Bart said, when someone that you look up to or admire as a TV personality passes, you sometimes think back to your own personal memories of them, and you're applying your own life. So, I mean, it applies to us. You know, God forbid anything happens to us, you know, maybe somebody will be very upset. And I would consider myself extremely, you know, lucky to have gotten that reaction out of somebody. You know, so maybe that's how to look at it.
Phil said he cried when Owen died. Couple of comments. First Lady of Wrestling thinks you guys should tour in 2023.
Interesting. We go to Pittsburgh.
Larry Bird wrote when Matt Bourne passed. He cried.
What was that? One more time.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Yeah. Not the Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Anyway, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back with the great Wisteria Hall singing another song. So please hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, this is Wolfie D here, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in Tennessee or Southern Kentucky, you're going to want to call my buddy, the rock star realtor, Ben.
Hey guys, it's Mike Monte, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, and we want to reach out to all the fans out there who have supported our show to say thank you. Thank you for making 2021 one of our best years. And one of our best years was because of Anchor. Anchor, the way that you can have your voice heard. You can be just like us. Record your own podcast. Use the Anchor tools to edit your podcast. Use it on a phone. Use it on your computer. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all with Anchor, they're totally free. So be just like Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. We're looking together for a great 2022. We've got huge guests coming on board. Oh, yeah. You're probably wondering why Jimmy's not here right now. Well, he's prepping for one of the best interviews we're about to have, and we're going to surprise someone with. So hang aboard with us, and don't forget, be like us and use Anchor.
G. Bowie. And you say, Wolfie, how do I get in touch with this rock star? Well, you can call him directly at 615-390-8216. You can go to his website, bowiehomes.com. That's B-U-I-E homes.com. Or you can email him at benbuie34@gmail.com. BENBUIE34@gmail.com. When you need a home, you need the rock star realtor.
Tell him Wolfie sent you. Benji is a member.
Big V dumps.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump. What? No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
One, two, three. Whenever I get to feel this way, have to find new words to say about a thing, the bad old days we used to know. Nights of winter turn me cold, fears of dying, getting old. We ran the race was won by running slowly. Could be soon we'll cease the sound. Slowly upstairs, faster down, and to revisit stony grounds we used to know. With every morning shilling spent, made no sense to leave the bed. The bad old days, they came and went. Even in the fruitful years, yeah. Saving up the virgin hand, one in a bush, the other's land. Take what you can before the man says it's time to go. Each to his own way, I'll go mine. Best of luck with what you find. For your own sake, remember times we used to know.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. Wisteria Hall on the stage. Great job, guys.
Thank you.
I couldn't ask for anything better. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Listen, I've known you guys. I've known you both for a long time. You guys are like a great pro wrestling tag team. How did you guys meet?
Ooh, how did we meet? Play ball! Well, not really, no. Actually, and Mike, you remember the band, Electric Sunset. I started to talk to Bart when he was coming to the Sunset stuff. That was my first band a million years ago.
We had a mutual friend that ghosted us.
Oh, he ghosted you. I don't care what he did with me. I don't give a shit.
You know, that's really rude when people ghost you. I hate that. Anyway.
Oh, how you doing there, Schmucko? How you been? Anyway.
Suffice to say, I heard Jimmy's music before I met Jimmy. We were sitting at a Burger King parking lot listening to cassette tape. I'm like, this is pretty good. Let's go see these guys. And first time I heard somebody say Johnny Law in a song, that was always my favorite expression.
Yes, I did use that phrase.
So we met, and then we played softball. I'm like, Jimmy's going to play softball, the guy with the long hair? How it's going to be there?
Yeah, the guy with the hair down to his ass is going to play softball on our beer league team.
But he shared the passion. Don't want to lose any of you guys with the boringness, but it's very important to know that really it helped, organically speaking.
Yeah.
You know, we got to know each other.
Sure.
Many singing in the parking lot. I bring my guitar, you know, and just got to know each other and talked about things, songs that we liked.
So there it is. You saw the Electric Sunset too, way back in the day.
Yeah.
You know?
So, look, we all know, right? Average marriage lasts 10 years, things like that. Is my mic on? I feel like it's not on. It's good? Okay.
Oh, boy, where's he going with this? The average marriage lasts 10 years. Okay.
So, look, you guys have been around each other a really long time,
Oh, we sick
right?
of
And
stuff.
loyalty is a big deal, right? I mean, I opened up the show speaking about loyalty to one agent's clientele, right? How do you guys stay loyal to each other?
It's easy. It's easy for me.
I think it's just like a mutual respect. You know, we were into the same things, and, you know, I just kind of think that there really wasn't anything like that was thought out or thought like, you know, do we get sick of each other? I'm sure over all these years probably been like, you know, this guy's an Islander fan, I can't take it.
Yeah, the hockey thing is probably our biggest problem with each other. I'm a Ranger fan, he's an Islander fan, so there you go. What friction?
And Mike, about 100 years ago, like me and Jimmy actually got into a text fight over the Islanders.
Over the Islander. That's our only
funny.
fight, I think. Isn't that our only fight?
And it was like, who's my number? And I'm like,
Yeah, I was that mad. He was doing the 1940 shit. Leave me alone.
Oh, my
so then
God.
Like 5 minutes later, I'm like,
1940. Pot fan sucks.
so 5 minutes later, I'm like, did we really lose the friendship over this thing?
Over the Islanders and
Right.
the Rangers.
Like,
Right.
And Jimmy's like, no.
Right. No, of course not. But that's when those famous words, you think Deion Sanders gives you shit about your feelings?
That's right.
That's when I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, we're fighting over millionaires. They don't even know who we are.
That's right.
I mean,
And
Mick
they-
Foley
and they
won't
could
even
care
buy
less.
me a number 5 combo.
I mean,
You know?
that kind of goes back to my point. I'm not trying to downplay the passing of anybody, but it's like if you died tomorrow, is someone, is John Cena going to cry for you?
Right.
You know, a cry for your family?
No.
And again, I'm not saying we shouldn't be empathetic towards each other, and I don't know. I don't know. You know what? It's just it's hard for me to like we were speaking about Hulk Hogan, right? You know how much Hulk Hogan meant to me, or even Vince McMahon. If anybody means anything for me, someone at that type of level, it's Vince McMahon, who, if anyone's a betting man, sooner or later he's got the quickest odds of going of anyone we've named so far. And I don't even know if I would cry for him. But here's something. We spoke about influences while you guys were on the couch. I really want to know probably your greatest influences. Can you share with the people your relationship with your fathers and about your fathers?
All right, I'll try to do that first. My father was my best friend. My father was a very, very intelligent man. He was a CPA. He was not a car parking attendant. He was a certified public accountant. I had to use that old Tim Conway joke. But my father was just a really good guy. He had good morals. He was a little nutty. That's where I get some of my nuttiness from, probably.
He was very passionate. He was also a very peaceful man, oddly enough. So I'm not sure why that didn't rub off more on me, but he was a very peaceful person and always believed in the good and always had the glass half full. Always. And honestly, not only did I admire and respect it, I was almost jealous of it because I don't look at things always the way he did. He wanted to live to be 100. Of course, they took him at 73. Worst day of my life. My father turned me on to the Beatles when I was 3. He walked in with a record player for me, introducing the Beatles. He started me right at the beginning. He figured, I'm not going to pick up Let It Be. I'm going to start him with Twist and Shout. And he went straight to Twist and Shout. So he cheated. He knew right away. The second I heard John Lennon singing, I'm 3 years old, I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. I mean, probably in hindsight, he probably should have just handed me a calculator so I could have been a CPA. But instead, boom, he got me into music, and the rest was history as far as he goes. He was just a fantastic person. I miss him terribly.
You know, it's interesting. My dad also, this is my button? Hold on a second. It's the green button. You turn left at Greenland. Go ahead.
There it is.
There you go. Hey, my dad also was a CPA, a good man, instilled a lot of things, you know, education, jokes. And as he got older, he lightened up a little bit. As he was younger, he was pretty strict, but you never felt uncomfortable, always made me feel comfortable, always encouraged whatever we were into at the time. And I lost him in 2009, and he's sorely missed, and he was a big influence. And I do want to throw a shout out to my father-in-law, who I also lost. Both of those guys were my mentors. They were the shell answer people. Anything I needed to know. They were both great guys, and they both treated me like a son. And I miss them both like you wouldn't believe. And I'm very happy that I was able to have a good relationship with them. And, you know, and my father-in-law was a pretty harsh critic when it came to music. Like, hey, what do you think of this? Not too much. So, but he did love Forever Your Child.
Wait, Bart, I have to ask you one question. So you go to your father-in-law, you say, hey, what do you think of this? He's like, whatever. Like, did you ever
give me advice?
Did you ever have
to do a little bit more of this, and do a more of that? I'm like, well, thanks.
Well, did you ever go home bitching to your wife like your dad? You know what? Do you think? What would your wife say to you?
Well, my wife is also a good critic. She likes the music. Otherwise, you know, I don't mind her being brutally honest. You know, she loves what me and Jimmy do, and she's very supportive of that. And she was supportive of the other music that we did together before Wisteria Hall. But then she would let me know if it was a clunker, or let you know if that's just too slow. Like, there's a song, Evil Walks By, that you guys will hear in the future. And we recorded a version that was, like, really slow as hell. And I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? She's like, you ruined it. You ruined it. You ruined
Wow.
it. You ruined it.
Wow.
And my son would be like, what the hell did you do to that song? So they're very honest. I don't mean to overly, but I like when people... You know, so when they tell us something's good, I believe it, instead of just anything they say, anything you do, oh, it's great. No, I like the honesty, and when something's good, they let us know it, and, you know, they feel that the whole world should know us.
And sometimes it goes the other way. Like the time that we were doing, you know, of course, the song This Life, which Eddie was producing, Eddie Kramer, we couldn't stand his mix. So I had a real dilemma. I'm like, oh, my God, we're going to have to tell Eddie Kramer, the guy who's worked with so many legends, that this mix sucks. And we did. I mean, you know, and Eddie at first didn't take it very well. He was like, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Eddie, the vocals are not balanced. It sounds ridiculously too bassy and all this other shit. And he was upset. And I thought to myself, shit, I pissed him off. But I had to tell him, it's our song. I have to tell him. Because otherwise, we're going to have to live with that forever after that version of it if we don't say anything. So oddly enough, it wasn't even an hour. I got home after telling him it sucked, and he was like, "Get your ass back to the studio. We're gonna nail this." And so he agreed with me, and he was like, actually, he gave us an amazing mix. He wasn't like, who do these guys? They don't know what that. He listened to it, and he was like, "Shit, okay, let's do it now." And I was like, right. Oh, he said now. I got back in the car. We went back another 4 hours. It was worth every second of it because the final mix of This Life is beautiful.
Yes.
True art.
Yeah.
True art.
We got what we wanted.
And we are going to mention, if you give us a chance, if you're asking along those questions, who helped us out with Tales of the Woods, which was our most recent collection of songs. We can get to that, I guess, Cliff.
Yeah, well, we have a tremendous studio guitarist, producer, bass player, and everything else. Is it Clifton David Broadbridge?
Yes,
Did I get
Clifton
that from
David
Canada?
Broadbridge.
He was Eddie's understudy. That's how we found Cliff, the guy who plays the guitar on our current stuff and the bass and produces. He was Eddie Kramer's understudy. He's a genius. So we've stepped in shit twice. Pretty happy about it. I ain't changing my shoes.
Well, guys, I want to tell you it's an honor to have you on the show. Again, I can't reiterate to people, go on to Spotify, go to the Wisteria Hall YouTube page, check out their music, rip their music. You've got such a variety. I'll tell a quick story before the boys send us out with some music. They're going to play 2 more songs, and I'm sure everybody will be happy about that, so I shut up. But I will tell you this. When Jimmy first and Bart showed me the music from their first album, right, I loved it. To me, it had a nice 60s feel. This Life was on it, so Riding High is the Monte and the Pharaoh theme song. So I remember when Jimmy first brought Riding High to me, he's like, check this out. And I was like, it's not that I hated it. I was shocked because it was so different.
Right.
And one thing about music that I always love about certain bands is that one song to another is completely different. But in this particular case, I made it clear to you, I wasn't happy with the change of music, of style, because I loved their first album so much. I was like, why didn't you just stick to that format? But I got to tell you, obviously, I'm not a musician and I'm not an artist, because those guys nailed it with that second album, which is equally as enjoyable. So I want to thank you guys again, and it's an honor. And all I could say is, bring us home.
Let's do it. I got to ask you something. This microphone might be running out of a little power. It keeps on shutting off. So let's hope it makes it through the whole song. Let's hope it makes it through.
Alrighty. Let's take it away. We're going to do another song from the first record, Indivisible, called Not Far Behind. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thinking it over, the things you said to me. Started with something, with nothing, now we leave. So you were with me for a while, but now you're gone. And you know, wherever you go, I'm not far behind. I'm not far behind. Starting all over, too many times we tried, pulling us under, our time's been swept aside. So you were with me for a while, but now you're gone. And you know, wherever you go, I'm not far behind. I'm not far behind. Only want and need your love. Only ask if it's enough. Are you feeling the same way? 'Cause I want and need your love. Can I ask if it's enough? Are you feeling the same way? Are you now? Don't leave me now. So now that it's over, did you care at all? But you know, wherever you go, I'm not far behind. I'm not far behind. So here we go again. Here comes the rain again. Here we go again. Here comes the rain again. Find the cost of freedom buried in the ground. Mother Earth will swallow you. Lay your body down. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a frown? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts? Hot ashes for trees, hot air for the cool breeze, cold coffee for change. Did you exchange the walk-on part of the war, lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. Have we found the same old fears? Wish you were here. You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh, and until next week, on behalf of my partner Michael Monte, this is Bart Griggs, this is Wisteria Hall. Later.